My name's Andrew, and we're about to REKA Thanksgiving. So I have some briquettes here, and I also have this kind of like toxic-free little fire starter. It's better than using like lighter fluid like a lot of people do. Okay, cool, so that's just gonna burn now. I'm gonna let that get started. Usually for me, I like to light my coals 40 to 45 minutes in advance because that's when they're well cooked and you're getting that full potential heat coming off them. And then we're gonna let it roll and go prep our chestnuts. Chestnuts. So I just got back from Georgia where I harvested wild chestnuts, and today I'm going to be using them as a feature ingredient in this amazing Thanksgiving stuffing. So what I've done is I've taken the liberty to soak these chestnuts for the last 30 minutes in some just standard tap water. And the reason being is we're about to roast them, and I want to make sure that I just get a bit of moisture in there so that they crack perfectly well over that open chestnut fire. I have a chestnut knife. Now, you want to score a chestnut. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can either score over the face like this, or you can you can see on the chestnut there's actually a flat face, and then there's a round face. What you do is you can just come around that face, because as these start to heat up, they can kind of have an effect like a popcorn kernel or a corn kernel. They don't puff up like a popcorn, but this can explode. And today I'm going to be using like a barbecue vegetable grill cage, but a lot of people will use fry pans, and I've done it before too. But if you don't cut them properly, it can actually get so much pressure and heat on the inside that they just blow up everywhere, and it just goes crazy. So we want to mitigate that by just taking our little chestnut and just punching through just enough. And that's why I did some water, because I want to get through just enough where I can actually get that to peel. And I'm gonna start loading this into my chestnut cage. So let's get this party started. We'll carry on. Let's get these on the fire, hey? So we have our chestnuts all prepped, soaked, and I've done the scoring. I have our coals sitting at perfect temperature now, and these are going to take about 10 to 15 minutes at the most, and every now and then we just want to give them a little shake. Chestnuts roasting, or whatever that song goes, I don't know. Some kind of cool Christmas song.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
You can see these are starting to pop and burst open now where we cut them. The smell coming out of this cage over this grill, it's just this amazing smoky nutty smell. It's actually divine. It's amazing. You can see that has perfectly popped. Oh man, it smells like super fresh bread that's just been toasted. It is honestly amazing. It's a beautiful smell. So let's take this in the kitchen. Let's carry on with this Thanksgiving special stuffing. Let's get started here. We have all of my ingredients. I baked a cornbread 2 days ago so that it would dry out and get nice and firm. I don't want it to be soft and moist for the finished product. So I literally do it in advance on purpose. I let it start to dry and get a bit firm. It starts to evaporate all the moisture out exactly to the consistency that I want, because I'm adding other wet ingredients and I don't want it to be overly slushy. So this is going to end up being like a sponge that soaks up all of that flavor and distributes it back through the stuffing. So we have cornbread here. I have 2 pounds of venison Italian sausage. So I made this myself from a deer that I harvested myself. I also have my herb mix, and here's how I put it together. I have 4 cups of chicken stock. I may not use that all. I have 2 eggs. I have celery, garlic, a yellow onion. I have a whole bunch of fresh washed cranberries, and of course, one of the stars of the show, freshly roasted chestnuts. So let's get cooking. So we're gonna take our cornbread, that we've made, and I am going to quite literally just take my hands that have been washed.
Wash your hands, Kevin.
And I'm going to just crumble up that cornbread. Guys, this just, it smells amazing. We're gonna have, if you don't know how to make stuffing, or if you're one of the people that goes and just grabs it off the shelf, try doing it this way this year. I know we're just a few days out from Thanksgiving, but try doing it this way, and you are going to be impressed and addicted to a whole new way of preparing your Thanksgiving stuffing. Next, I'm gonna prep all my vegetables, at least the ones that are gonna be cooked right away. I'm gonna put that off to the side for a second. Next is, I'm gonna take care of our onion. Okay, cool, so there's our onion. I'm gonna leave that to the side. I'm now gonna crush these, and then I'm going to mince them. So let's move nice and quickly. So I'm just gonna get these all skinned real quick. Okay, so we have all of our garlic cloves peeled. I'm now gonna put them into the garlic press. I wanna have it nice and fine. So let's cook down our garlic, onion, and our venison Italian sausage that I've made. So I'm just gonna cut it out of my home style packaging here. And I like to cook it semi-frozen. So let's just, it's gonna go into the pan looking like a sausage, but as it's cooked, so I'm just gonna roll it over and it's gonna keep breaking down. So here we go, you can see that beautiful rendered sausage with all that flavoring in it. Super good quality free range meat. I'm just gonna let that start to cook down. I'm gonna show you, so most of our venison sausage, our Italian sausage has cooked down now. I'm gonna show you a little clutch move. You take a potato masher and you just start mashing it. It seems weird, but you start mashing the meat a little bit, not to make a mulch out of it, but what it does is it breaks it down so we get all those little grains of meat that we like. All of this juice and also a lot of the fat reserve, I'm gonna try and keep a lot of that. So I'm gonna tip this away, and I'm just going to put in as much of the dry ground meat as possible, the sausage. Super good. Can you smell this? I mean, oh my gosh. We're gonna bring this back here, and we're gonna go next level. We're gonna take some of the garlic, and we're going to blend that around. We're gonna take our onions. And they're just gonna start to soak up a lot of those oils and the flavors, so we're not wasting it in the pan. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna add the celery in now over the top. That's gonna start to steam it while it's cooking. We're gonna take our seasoning, all of our herbs and spices, our rub. Actually, a lot of the moisture from the rosemary has just absorbed up a lot of the salt. So we're just gonna mix that in now. Doesn't this just look better than using a packet? All those blends and spices. Like I always say, it's all in the prep. You can just get all your ingredients lined up. It just starts to come together so well. Now we're gonna add some of our chicken stock. Not all of it. We have 4 cups here right now. I'm gonna add about 2 cups. Ooh, that looks good. And, are you ready? See, this is where it's just like, cooking is artistry. We're just gonna start to add little colors. We're gonna start adding some of our cranberries into that mix. Man, that's looking bomb. So good. We're gonna let that cook off for a minute. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna start to peel the chestnuts. So I'm gonna peel these chestnuts. and then I'm gonna dice them into little like bite-sized chunks. I'm going to do this stuffing 3 ways. I'm gonna present it 3 ways. The first way we're gonna do it is we're just gonna do it straight in plain casserole dish. Number 2, we are going to put some of the stuffing inside the turkey. But I tend to like the stuffing in the casserole dish a little more because it gets that crisp finish.
Extra crispy.
That kind of broiled finish. And the third one, I have some butternut squashes, and I am going to cut those in half, and I'm going to plate the stuffing into the butternut squash, finish it with some Parmesan, and roast it. So there's our bounty, wild caught. So let's take these chestnuts now, and I am going to just chop them up. Now I'm going to leave them about that chunks because I want you to just to discover that beautiful chestnutty goodness. I don't want it to be so small that you don't catch it when you're biting into the stuffing. I'm going to go a little bit against the grain here, and because there's so much goodness, I want to just bind a couple of these eggs loosely just to create a little extra cohesion with all of the different ingredients as we're going to implement them now into the different dressings. Okay, chestnut, cranberry, cornbread, deer, Italian sausage, stuffing. It's going down. Firstly, we're going to load up our casserole dish. I want to get like a solid crust on this dressing so that we can get some nice crunch. But then what we're going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of Parmesan on this one. Actually, both of these we're going to do a little bit of Parmesan just to give it a little kick at the end. Okay, number 1 dish ready to go in the oven. Look at those cranberries. That they burst while they were cooking, but I've noticed a lot of them have soaked back up a lot of the juices. So this is just going to be an amazing marriage of combination flavors. Super simple once you get to this point. So we're going to just put a little bit of a heavier dredge this time of the palm. Okay, so now we're going to take our Thanksgiving turkey. I'm not majoring on the turkey, we're just using it as a stage to stuff our dressing into the turkey. But anyways, we're going to make sure we do a good job of that. With their skin, you actually want to get your finger here under the skin and you start separating the skin from the meat. So I'm going to literally take pieces of butter like this, and I'm going to push them down and kind of squash them into those sections. See, like this. The way that I've learned to cook turkeys is you actually invert them and cook them breast down. Then all the juices of the bird while it's cooking run down into the breast, keeping the meat there hydrated. For right now, let's settle up. We're just going to take scoops of stuffing and we're going to push that up into the turkey chest cavity. And you just have to get your hand like that and you're just going to push it all the way up. Okay, so I have sewn up the back cavity where everything has been stuffed. All our great stuffing has been put in. I've also pinned the 2 wings so they're not like flapping everywhere. I'm gonna take some of our seasoning. I'm just using a very basic garlic herb. I'm not doing anything fancy, just doing something how I would refer to something as very simple. And now we're gonna put it in the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna do a convection bake. Okay, we've hit an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's go see what it looks like now. I'm gonna check it.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
So I'm now going to do the risky business of taking my 2, I use barbecue forks, and I'm now going to transfer it over to the plate very carefully. Now the underside's not as crispy, but that's fine. It's going to make up for what it lacks in visual presentation with flavor. So now I'm going to present it and get it ready to be plated and taken out to the table for our Friendsgiving. To all of the new viewers, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell and join me on this REKA venture. Have a great day, and thanks again.